I said, I can tell my story. So I started telling my story. I'm on the clock, so to speak. I can tell my story. And that's why one of the inspirations why I wrote this book. So I can help anybody that listens or reads or listens to these podcasts. If I can help one person,
Yep.
see, my book is about how I made a lot of bad choices
Mm-hmm.
and I received the consequences. But then the right choices came in and I received the consequences for them too, oddly. Thank goodness, because I never gave up and I'm here today. I own my own business. I'm a personal trainer.
I love it.
I'm a single father. My son lives with me. My 82-year-old mother with dementia lives with me. I have 2 Great Danes and a cat. And my life is awesome.
Driven by purpose, fueled by passion. My words got power, my thoughts have action. Motivation, stay gracious. That's greatness. Be audacious. Motivation. Be audacious. Innovation. Be audacious. Inspiration. Be bold. Motivation. Be audacious.
Well, greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast. This is a place where we talk about living boldly, authentically, and let's be honest, sometimes a little messy. I'm glad you're here. Take a deep breath, grab your coffee or your water, whatever the beverage of your choice is. You're going to spend a few minutes getting inspired, entertained, and maybe even challenged. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever dropped your phone? Yeah, that kind of heart-stopping moment when you pick it up and you see a giant crack running across the screen. Congratulations, you just got a life metaphor. Life can do the exact same thing. It throws curveballs, sets up roadblocks, shakes things up so hard, you're not really sure what's up, down, or even sideways. And yeah, it's frustrating. You want to throw it against the wall, but spoiler alert, throwing your phone doesn't help. And neither does stressing over life's messes. Here's the good news. A cracked phone can be fixed, and you can rebuild, repair, and come back stronger, sometimes even better than before. That's what this podcast is all about. Every story we share here is a little repair shop for your life. Proof that even when things feel broken, restoration is still possible. And speaking of comebacks, today's guest is John Carter. John's a gym owner, a personal trainer, and a brand new author. But trust me, this wasn't handed to him. John has been through some serious stuff. We're talking about addiction, being shot, you name it. But instead of letting those challenges define him, he rebuilt his life from scratch and now helps others do the same. If anyone knows how to patch up a cracked life, it's definitely John. So buckle up, listen closely, laugh a little, and take notes because this one's full of wisdom, grit, and yes, a few laughs too. Hey, John, thanks for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. I appreciate you for taking the time to be here, my friend.
Thank you, Audley. So pleasure to be here, buddy. I'm very happy.
Awesome. Well, I'm happy to have you. And listen, we spend so much time on this podcast encouraging individuals to live their best audacious life. And I think the big thing around that is understanding that life is very much a journey. Like we're all on our own individual path, and it's not going to be the same. And some more journeys are more challenging than others, and some have got different rewards at the end. They're all very different, but they belong to us nonetheless. And so it's really encouraging individuals to sort of own their path, if you will, and move forward regardless of what's in front of them. I think that sort of encapsulates some of your story beautifully because you've had to go through your own fair share of life's challenges. And I see on your shirt there it says never give up, and that's exactly what you had to do, is not give up, keep pushing forward to kind of get to the other side. And so maybe as a starting point, I can get you, John, to introduce yourself to our audience and let them know the kind of work you're doing and what's taking you to the point that you're at now.
Hi, everybody. I'm John. I'm a brand new author. I just came out with my new book, Trigger to Change. And I'm also a gym owner. I own a gym. I'm a personal trainer. And so that's where I am right now.
And So again, when you sort of talk about your journey, I guess, I mean, I'll use the word remarkable, if you will. So can you sort of take us back to that moment when you realized that kind of enough was enough, that you dealt with, and that you need to make a profound change in your life?
Sure, Audley. I would just like to tell you about what led me up to my situation. So I had a very unconventional childhood, Audley. My father was in the mafia, organized crime, and I loved my dad, Audley, so much. He was my best friend. He never missed a ball game. I loved him so much. And so when he died, I wanted to wear his shoes, Audley, but I was not his size. So immediately, I found myself in a world of trouble. This man, instead of paying me a gambling debt he owed me, decided to shoot me in the back of the head and attempted to murder me. But I lived. And oddly, being shot in the back of the head was the easy part of my story, as my life spiraled out of control with all kinds of addictions and even prison stay, oddly. So
Wow.
that's what led me up to where I am.
So can we talk about that journey of getting past that horrific incident? How could you? I mean, I'm imagining there was a sort of incredible toll mentally, physically, and emotionally on you.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll start with the mental
Sure.
aspect of it first.
Okay.
I when I was shot, I entered a coma, and they brought me to the hospital. I was in a coma for 90 days, hardly, and that coma was one long dream, but it wasn't like an ordinary dream where it's kind of fadey. This was very vivid. Like I remember it like it was yesterday. And this happened in 1992, oddly. December 15th, 1992 is when I got shot. And I remember that dream today like it was yesterday. And this dream, the midst of this dream was we're in a hospital, we were chained to our beds. I had no idea what was wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
And every day we had a swimming race. And the winner of this race got to go home. Now remember, this was a dream. It hurt so bad to get out of that bed into that pool. And I kept losing and losing and losing. And this is the first time in my life, although it was a dream, it's the first time in my life I said, I quit, I give up. I'm not getting out of this bed no more.
Mm.
And that night, an old gentleman sat on the bed next to me. Well, I have no idea who it was. No, it meant nothing to me. And he said to me, you're not going to quit. You're not giving up. And I'm going to coach you. Oddly, for weeks, he took me down to that pool and he trained me and trained me and trained me. Now it's the day of the big race. He gets me down to that pool. He trains me. He's giving me a pep talk. I remember swimming like a bat out of hell. I hit the wall, oddly, and I woke out of the coma.
Okay. Oh.
And I woke up. So then I have to do another 6 months in the hospital. So it's a total of 9 months in the hospital.
Okay.
And so now I get out. And I go home. My mother has a basement apartment set up for me. I go home, and depression sets in, ugly. It was horrible.
Sure.
Oh, it was horrible. I was all alone. I was in my wheelchair. I thought my life was over.
Mm.
And I just eating. And now I'm up to 300 pounds in my wheelchair. 300 pounds sitting in a wheelchair, thinking my life was over.
Mm.
I added alcohol, and before that, I added cocaine, and I was off. My life was a wreck. It was awful. But oddly, I could not afford to keep my habit. So what did I want? What did I do? My bright idea after being shot in the head was to become a drug dealer. So this is where I become a drug dealer. But the police does not find this too amusing. So, boom, my door gets kicked in. 10 cops come barreling to the door. They find drugs, they find money, and they arrest me. But oddly, when they came into my house, I thought I was being mugged and robbed.
Okay.
And then I heard the walkie-talkies. And that's when peace came over me. It's unbelievable. I said to myself, wow, this is over. Thank God. I mean, my life was so horrible. This is a good thing.
Right.
I remember the cop looking at me saying, what the hell is so funny here? You're in a lot of trouble. I said, sir, this is a good thing. My life was a mess.
Wow.
So they take me to prison, they arrest me. But I was able to make bail. So I remember sitting in the parking lot of the police station, weighing 300 pounds in a wheelchair, no money, no drugs, nowhere to go. Talk about rock bottom. I was down. I had nowhere to go.
Yep.
My friend said to me, you have to get sober. Start with getting sober. And at that time, I didn't have too many options. So I said, okay. I gave my hands up.
Right.
He took me to detox. And from detox, I started clearing up. I knew I wanted to stay sober. I knew I felt better.
Right.
But I had to be interviewed for a halfway house. From detox, you go to a halfway house. So I go to a halfway house, I have to be interviewed. Now I'm sitting in the room waiting for the executive director of the halfway house to interview me.
Okay.
And this is where my life changed. It's unbelievable. This woman comes walking through the door. I could see there was something wrong. And she proceeds to tell me how she was in a cocaine-induced coma. And now this is back in 1994. She was already 20 years sober. She told me about her story and how she was in a wheelchair for years. And I was in awe. I'm looking at her. Oddly, the wheelchair was hell. I could not believe this woman got out of the wheelchair. I was in awe. People would always say to me, oh, I know how you feel. I know how you feel. And I would say, But she said to me, I know how you feel. And I said, oh, my God, she's right on the point here. She knows exactly how I feel. Oddly, she became my best friend. She's actually the woman. She wrote the foreword in my book, Trigger to Change.
Wow.
And I'm great friends with her. This woman was like God to me. I listened to every word she said. Meetings, 3 meetings a day, whatever she said, I did. But oddly, I still had this court case hanging over my head.
Sure.
And I was 8 months sober in a halfway house. I remember Deb taking me to court. And I said, this judge is going to have leniency on me. I'm in a wheelchair. I have Deb on my side. I've been sober for almost a year. I remember I rolled up to him in a wheelchair. He looked down at me. He said, Mr. Carter, he said, we don't discriminate in this courtroom. You will get the same sentence any drug dealer gets in my community. He gave me 10 years. He gave me 10 years. I was so upset and so hurt, but that all changed to positively. And I'll tell you, I'll get back into that. But I was so hurt. This guy is putting me in a jail with mass murders. This is my first offense. I'm in a wheelchair. I thought I was in a lot of trouble.
Right.
So Deb looks at me and she says, a lot of people would run right now. Face your fears. You're not alone, and I'm going to help you. So this is coming from God. Deb's my God. So what did I do? Right after prison, I went. Now, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'2", a big man. Oddly, those big metal doors closed behind me. I cried like a baby. Sure. I could not believe I was in a cell about 6 feet long, no bigger than a bathroom. And I'm saying, this is 10 years of my life. Wow. Oh, my goodness. The next morning, and this is where my life got into fitness. The next morning, 3 guys entered my cell. And I said, oh, I'm in trouble here. And they said, we're friends of your dad's. And we're here to help you. And we're going to stop by getting rid of that wheelchair. Oddly, for months. They took me down to prison gym. I was getting stronger and stronger, using that chair less and less. And who would have thought three convicts in prison would have taught me this lesson, oddly.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I was getting so much better. But in prison, oddly, I've seen a lot of recidivism, people coming in and getting out, a big revolving door. And I knew I didn't want this. And I said to my dad, who was in heaven, I went back to my cell and I'm talking to him. I said, Dad, please guide me here. I don't want this. And boom, oddly, he taught me a lesson when I was a youngster that stuck right in my mind. Fail to plan, plan to fail. So I said, wow, I'm going to make myself a plan here. And right away, I got on the phone and I called Deb at the halfway house. And she says, "Oh my goodness, I've been waiting for this call." She says, "Of course we're gonna help you.
Right.
You're not alone." And utterly, thank God, because I got out of prison at 32 years old. I had $100 and a bus ticket.
Right.
If I went back home to my own stomping grounds, what will my chances of surviving be?
Right. Yeah.
So I got on the bus, and I took to the left, and I went back to the halfway house.
Yeah.
And thank God I was leaving, because now my life is freaking awesome. I love it.
You know what? I tell you something that you said a couple of times, and I think it's a really powerful statement. Is you are not alone. To hear those words uttered to you, especially when you're in the point, when you're at the lowest point of your life, right? And you hear those words, you are not alone. I would imagine maybe this is where I get you to tell me how it felt, but the sense of encouragement, empowerment, support to know that, yes, as bad as things are, I have those around me that can help me and help get me through this low point in my life.
Oddly, that's a great point. I always felt alone my whole life. When I was using drugs and alcohol, I felt so alone. Even if I was in a room with 100 people, I was alone. I didn't want to associate. I was alone. And to have people reach out to me, when people see you trying to do good, they want help. They want to help. Like Deb has helped so many people in her life.
Mm-hmm.
So many people in her life. For her to help me and tell me that I'm not alone, and I heard that over and over and over again from that old man in the dream, who I had no idea it was, that you're not alone. And I'll tell you right now, Audrey, I'm a volunteer for Service Dog Project. We raise Great Danes for the mobility impaired, veterans, first responders, and the general public. And the proceeds of this book is helping the farm. And that means so much to me. And I got to tell you what you just said now, I'm with a Great Dane 24 hours a day. I am never alone. He knows exactly who I am every minute of the day. He's my service dog. And now that Turbulence, who I'm talking about, is my second service dog. My first service dog, Jagger, got very sick. And we saved his life. And I retired him from my service dog and got Turbulence for my service dog. But this is something special. My mom, who's 82 years old with dementia, lives with me. And I would have never guessed that Jagger would become her service dog. It's unbelievable. She'll sit in her wheelchair crying for no reason. Jagger sees that, gets right up, goes right over, puts his he's 200 pounds, puts his big head on her lap. She totally forgets why she was crying. Smile from ear to ear. She's never alone.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that story. Curious. So, and there's a whole part of you're the gym owner. I mean, I'm sure that's a story within itself. You talk about being an author. So you dedicate to fitness. You become an author. You do motivational speaking. help me. Are you able to pinpoint kind of what was a turning point for you that motivated you to give back? So it's one thing to go through challenges and hard times and difficulties, and you're like, okay, I made it. Giving back in the manner that you have, that's a whole other chapter. Was there one
Yeah.
thing that made that happen for you and made you decide you want to give back?
Yeah, oddly, it's funny that you say this. I wasn't ashamed of my story, but I own a business. Someone comes to my gym. I wasn't about to tell them, oh, I was a drug dealer, I was in prison, but give me some money and join my gym. Ugly, they'd run out the freaking door. They'd say, see you later. So I never told people my story fully, but I seen how I could inspire people.
Right.
And so this one woman, this is years ago, I became very good friends with her, and my gym was completely private, one-on-one training. And so after a while, you start building a rapport with this person. And then I started telling her a little bit of my story, a little dab here and there.
Sure.
And after a few sessions, she said, geez, I thought you were just in a car accident. She said, I had no idea you went through this. And I started telling her my story more and more. I told her everything. And she says, you got to tell people your story. This is going to inspire them. And I was kind of hesitant because I didn't know what to do. She says, trust me, they're gonna receive your message greatly. She says, you need to do a TED Talk. And she had connections through the TED Talk. This is the first time I ever told my story.
Okay.
I went to my meeting at the TED Talk. I remember coming out of it. I said, what the hell did you get me involved with here? There was no way. Oddly, I did not graduate high school. I dropped out in the 11th, and I didn't pay attention for the previous 10. So Lord knows I'm no scholar. So I said, she looked at me and she says, you can do this. You're not alone. I'm gonna help. I couldn't believe she said that to me. She said, I'm gonna help you. For months, she had coaches come to my gym training me how to do this TED Talk. When I did my TED Talk, I got a standing ovation. I couldn't believe that adrenaline on stage. I felt that I was back in the football field again.
I love it.
So now I see it inspiring my clients. I just told my TED Talk, and I see it received by a whole audience. I said, I can tell my story. So I started telling my story. I'm on the clock, so to speak. I can tell my story. And that's why one of the inspirations why I wrote this book. So I can help anybody that listens or reads or listens to these podcasts. If I can help one person.
Yep.
See, my book is about how I made a lot of bad choices and I received the consequences. But then the right choices came in and I received the consequences for them too, oddly. Thank goodness, because I never gave up and I'm here today. I own my own business. I'm a personal trainer.
I love it.
I'm a single father. My son lives with me. My 82-year-old mother with dementia lives with me. I have 2 Great Danes and a cat. And my life is awesome.
All of that sounds awesome. There's no question about that, and I love it. I love the manner in which you continue to push ahead. And I mentioned your shirt saying "Never give up," and that resilience.
Never give up.
That's what resilience is all about. And I love that. What kept you going during your darkest times in those moments? Especially when I would imagine the recovery process wasn't easy. There was a lot of work, and there were moments where thoughts of giving up sort of came into mind. What kept you going?
When I got sober, that's when I knew I can do this. What kept me going was people telling me, and a lot of people in my telling me, you're not alone. Oddly, that gave me so much strength. Seriously, so much strength. And I love moving forward. Oddly, I have a lot of difficulties. My balance is horrible. I have a lot of troubles in my life. It's not peachy. But you know what I don't have? I don't have difficulties being grateful, oddly. I love being grateful. I love giving back. Like actually yesterday, me and Turbulence, my service dog, we visit nursing homes, and we love that.
Yep.
Love that. Having those older people smile from ear to ear with, oh my, it's heaven. I love. And I remember being in the hospital back in 1994 and having that same thing happen to me.
Right.
Having somebody with a service dog walking up, for that 10 minutes, I didn't have a problem in the world, oddly.
Beautiful.
I did not have a single problem. When I walked through that door with Turbulence to a nursing home, those people do not have any problems anymore. They're so happy. And that makes me feel so great.
Gotcha. I love it. I love to hear it. I love to hear it. I am very much intrigued and even curious about how the fitness part of your journey helped you and what it did for you. I would imagine. I mean, we know generally, fitness is good for overall health, obviously, and and boost our self-esteem in some instances, depending on where you're at. But I'm just curious, what did it do for you on your journey? Because your journey is very, very unique, John.
Yeah. Oddly, I mentioned to you in person the guys that helped me.
Yep.
And that's where my fitness journey started. I didn't connect the dots yet. I didn't realize how awesome fitness is mentally. I seen me getting stronger and stronger and stronger. But I would go back to my cell, a 6-foot cell, and I was not alone. I felt great. And I was like, what? How could this be possible? I'm sitting in the cell in jail feeling good about myself. What is I didn't feel as good when I was out of jail. Now I feel better in jail. I didn't put together how the endorphins get released. And by working out, you just feel so much better and positive. Like this morning I had working out is my medication, my depression medication. I love working out. So this morning I'm at my gym at 6 this morning, get my workout in. Because I know I started the day off on a positive foot. The rest of my day has a very good chance of going positive because I started out correctly.
Right.
I just did something great for my body and my mind. Yeah.
That's a big one. That certainly is a big one. And it seems that that gave you new purpose or a new life almost. It sounds like it, how you're describing it. I mean, and the fact that you own a gym says so much.
Oh, I love it. So when I got out of prison, I knew I wanted to be a trainer. And I got a story for you. I knew I wanted to be a trainer. I kept applying to all the big sporting places in Boston where I am. They wouldn't give me the time of day. I talk with a slur. I walk unbalanced. So it wouldn't give me the time of day. Now my friend wants to go train. He wants to go work out and asked me if I'd go work out with him. And he was going to Boston Sports Club. Now, I was in my workout clothes, and I have a pretty good physique. So my slur and my gait aren't so apparent because I'm in good shape. So I'm working out, I'm training, and I noticed a manager. Big, muscular, stocky man, very intimidating. But then I look at him like you. He's smiling ear to ear. He's very friendly. Him, people, towels. I said, "Wow, this guy's awesome. I'm gonna go for it." So I waited till he was alone, and I approached him. He said, "I have a few minutes. We can sit down in my office and have a talk." Well, that few minutes led into an over an hour conversation. And he looked at me. He said, "Can you start tomorrow?" And I still didn't tell him about prison or a felon. I didn't tell him anything. He answered me the application. Of course, the question's right there, Corey. I thought, oh my goodness, what am I going to do here? And I said, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to be honest with this guy, and I'm going to go. Oddly, I told him my whole story. He didn't bat an eye. Like, she looked right at me and says, "Can you start tomorrow?" I said, "I just told you I'm an ex-felon." He said, first of all, "Thank you for being honest. And second of all, I just wish my mom was alive to talk to you. His mom had passed away a few years earlier of alcoholism.
Okay.
And he said, if I think if she talked to you, she might not have another drink. And that's how it's. So now I go home and I get the phone call that night. It's my new boss saying, my morning guy just called in and I'm all away. Can you open the gym? I said, sure. I said, sure, but this is my first day. He told me the combination. I could not believe this gave an ex-felon his combination to his gym. Couldn't believe it. So now I walk in, and it's 6 in the morning, and a man walks in. He asks for the man that I'm replacing. See, at Boston Sports Club, when you join the gym, you get what's called a PFW, a private free workout.
Okay.
So he came in, he's looking for his free workout. I said, I have a few minutes. We go to my office, we'll have a little talk. I want to find out his abilities and what's wrong with him before we do anything. So he starts off, he's 60 years old, he's overweight. He starts off how he has diabetes. He has a ruptured L5 disc. He has a neck. I said, I was so overwhelmed. I'm trying to keep a straight face and look at him. And I said, okay, we can go have a little light workout. So I bring him to the floor. I give him a little light workout. We're talking. A little bit. He knows how I was overweight, how I lost a lot of weight. I lost over 100 pounds. So he's seen that. So now we go back to my office. Now this is where it's time for me to sell him, to make him my client.
Right.
So I give him a menu of the prices. And he says, I'll take one of these 50 packs. I'll give $6,000. I'm trying to keep a straight face without panicking. And I see my manager just came in. I said, sir, can you excuse me? And I ran to her. I said, David. I said, this man. He said, follow me. He goes to the office. He closes the deal like it was like nothing. He's a magician. Mm-hmm. So now the guy's my client. David, after the guy leaves, David turns to me and he says, we just rolled that 50 pack out 3 weeks ago. You are the first person in Boston to sell one. And that was my first day.
Wow.
That man that I sold back in 2011, back in 2001, is still my client today. I train him, his wife, his son, and his daughter.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
And I love that difference that you're making in the way that you are. And again, the things that that fitness journey can do is just so wonderful.
It's unbelievable. To see somebody change your life.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm just sort of thinking, like, if you were to reflect back on some of your lowest, so when you're at your lowest point, and if there was sort of, one piece of advice that someone could have given you, what would that have been? One piece
of advice?
Yeah.
Don't get involved with the organized crime. That would have been a great piece.
Don't follow your father's footsteps. Is that what it was?
Exactly. My father was an old-time gangster. Sure. He did not like drugs. He couldn't stand drugs. I was totally involved with drugs, and it was just not for me. This was not for me, Audley.
Yeah.
But you know what? Audley?
What's that?
I would not change a damn thing.
Beautiful.
Because I'm here right now. Unless you can say I didn't have to go through all that, and I could still be sitting here with a big smile, then great. But unless I'm sitting right here in my house with my son, my mom, and my dog, I wouldn't give it up for them. I love it.
Love it.
I love it. And it's always said to me, Audley, you only die once. I mean, you only live once.
Mm-hmm.
And I take that as a wrong thing, because we only die once. We live we live every day.
Yeah, we do.
We have to live it.
You're absolutely correct. And that's our life to live. So then for someone who's listening right now is inspired by your story, what small step could they take like today to start their own transformation journey or that journey of change?
Never give up. First of all, never give up and quit. That'll make you to your second day. And remember, you are not alone. You might feel alone, but when you start doing the right thing and people see you doing the right thing, they want to help you. And I gotta really thank you, because for me, alcoholism and relapsing in alcoholism is by not telling you a story.
Right.
By forgetting how bad that day in detox was. Trust, nobody goes to detox because they're feeling peachy. You go to detox because you have nowhere to go. That's your rock bottom.
Right.
When you don't forget how bad that day was, you can live. But when you forget and say, "Oh, that day wasn't too bad. I can do that again."
I'm still here, right?
Before you know it, it's a relapse.
Gotcha.
And our relapse for me is only one drink, right. one bad choice.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I just donated my book to an organization that sends them to prisons, because I feel if one person in prison that's been there for years and are getting out soon, and they read my book, they just might make a plan, Audrey. Because oddly, when you get out of jail, your one bad choice is this. That's it. Well, that's it. One drink, and that's it. You'll be lucky if you make it back to prison.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you real quick, the halfway house, when I went there in 1994, I sat in a circle with Deb, and she said, "Everybody here that wants to stay sober, raise your hand." The whole class raised their hand.
Sure.
And she said, "Now the fact of the matter is, one of you will stay sober, because the odds are 1 in 34 will stay sober."
Wow.
Oddly, I go back to our halfway house often, and we're looking at old family photographs. Dead, jail. Oddly, I was the only one to stay sober out of that class. And that not one of them is walking the street that you could talk to. They're either in jail or dead. That's the bottom line of our addiction.
So yeah, no, that's a staggering number and very powerful one for people to pay attention to, because it's not an easy thing to get over, and it's easier to relapse too, right? And so when
you have your seat, keep it. Yeah, when you have your seat, keep it. Don't give it up.
Yeah, I like that. For listeners that want to learn more about you, John, and your story, or connect with you, or get a copy of your book, or there seems like there's so much of offerings that you have. Where could we send them?
My book is on Amazon. So my author website is turbulencebook.com. And my gym website is titaniumhealthfitness.com. Titaniumhealthfitness.com. And anybody that reaches out to me and drops your name has a free session. They come in and train, have a talk, get to meet my service dog, Turbulence. Just remember, bring them a treat.
We'll keep that in mind. Finally, John, before we get out of here, I'm very, very curious. This, of course, is the Audacious Living Podcast. And so I'd love to know what does, living audaciously mean to you, and how can our listeners embrace, that mindset in their own lives? Would love to hear your thoughts.
Living audaciously for me is I get to give my dogs love every night. Oh, they're such sweethearts. To be able to give them love and be able to love my son, to live with my mom, to love my mom, that's living audaciously. That's living life to the fullest. I love it.
I love it. I love it as well. And thank you. That's awesome. John, I got to tell you, I leave this conversation so inspired, so encouraged, and so blessed to be able to share this time with you. Congratulations on just an absolutely wonderful journey, and I congratulate you like you're at the end of the road, and you're absolutely not. There's so much more for you to do, and so much more people for you to touch. But I absolutely want to acknowledge what you've done, the obstacles you overcame, and now, as I said earlier, to be able to give back in the way that you have is such a beautiful thing. So I want to commend you, and again, I want to thank you for being a guest today here on the Audacious Living Podcast.
Oh, awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Back we are from the interview with John, and wow, that hit hard and left me really smiling. John's story isn't just about overcoming, it's about community, about the people who show up, hand you a tool and say, you got this. He's proof that the right support at the right time can make all the difference. And maybe, just maybe, it's okay to accept a little help, even if it feels like admitting your phone is cracked. I can tell you and I can promise you there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. What I love most? Well, John's honesty, his willingness to talk about the mess, the cracks, and rebuild without trying to sugarcoat a thing. And that kind of vulnerability is rare. It reminded me that healing isn't a solo gig. We need people, community, and sometimes a little humor to keep us going. The cracks don't define us. They just make the story better. If you found inspiration and enjoyed what you hear, if John's story hit you and you want to reach out, of course, the contact info, we got you covered. We have that, in the show notes below. Go ahead, say hi, ask a question, or just let him know his story inspired you. Trust me, I know he will definitely appreciate it. Now, before we wrap up, I want to return back to our cracked phone metaphor because, life is going to throw you down. You're going to feel a little broken, things look distorted, and yeah, it might even make you want to scream at your reflection or at your phone. But here's the truth. Cracks don't mean failure. They mean you're alive, learning, and still in the game. With the right help, a little persistence, and maybe a laugh or two at how ridiculous life can get, you can fix what's broken and move forward stronger than before. John's story totally proves it. Your story can also change too. I really got to take this opportunity to thank you for hanging out with me here on the Audacious Living Podcast. If you've laughed, learned, or nodded along, just like, yeah, that's life, do me a favor, like, follow, or share this episode. Help us grow the community of bold, resilient, slightly cracked humans who keep showing up. Until next time, stay bold, stay audacious, and remember, even with a few cracks, you're still crushing it. Take care.
Driven by purpose, fueled by passion. My words got power, my thoughts have action. Motivation, stay gracious. That's greatness. Be audacious.